Hey guys, Aquarii Moon here, and today I wanted to talk about losing the superpower you have called imagination. So recently I discovered, or I don't want to say I discovered, but I uncovered the fact that one of my archetypes, I was defaulting to the discouraged kid. And being a discouraged kid, it can, or I would say it has hindered me a lot from growth and a lot from expressing myself, even into my early 30s. I don't want to say I don't give a fuck right now, but it's gotten to a point where if I continue to hold back what I really want to say or what I really want to do or where I really want to go, I shouldn't have to be, I have to censor, I have to censor myself. Like, that is not fair to me. And it's not fair to the other person either, because at that point then I'm being fake, right? So being who I truly am, saying what I truly feel, and doing what I really want to do, I have to break out of that. The first step was admitting it. The first step was realizing that, hey, I'm acting as if I'm still an adolescent. I can't be acting as an adolescent and call myself a woman. It's like either you're a little girl or you're a woman. And I just had to really get to a space, and I'm so grateful for my teacher, Amy Fludger. I hope I didn't mess up her name, but I'm really glad that I'm discovering and uncovering things within me that have been holding me back. I've been in that situation just asking myself, like, man, I really want, like, for example, business. I've been since 2011 trying this or trying that to try and get a business started, get a business going, but it seems like it would be cool, like in the beginning, but then it just slowly fell off. And that's because I had a lot of personal things that I needed to get out of the way first before I could really venture out and do a business and things like that. If you're a big fan of like the Marvel movies, I'm sure if you are, you've watched, like, 'cause they have those channels where they discuss the conspiracy theories or whatnot on those. But the reality is, a lot of that stuff is real. Like, a lot of that stuff is not made up. It's actual things, but because people have been programmed for so long, they don't even recognize that stuff is real. And losing your imagination happens very early on, I would say, because especially, and I'm kind of attesting to this, being the discouraged kid, you begin to stop even independently thinking about what you want to do. You start you start conforming to the standard that people are that the society has placed for you to learn and fit in. I still struggle at times with my mom and other family members about church and going to church and things like that. I have to keep repeating myself, but it's like I'm focusing on spirituality and not religion. Religion is nothing but a form of control, and when I had the opportunity to actually look at the different religions, start to compare and contrast, doing critical thinking, I'm like, this is like the same story. It's the same story, but with different names, with different people. And then not only that, but there's just a lot of contradictory things. It's like, just a lot of contradictory things that just don't, I'm like, that doesn't even make sense. And if you've seen that show, was it Greenleaf? Now that I was watching that, I was like, you know what? Like, this is a perfect explanation. Like, even though it was talking about the mega churches, like, that is exactly how all of these churches are running in the background. Like, there's all kinds of stuff going on that people don't know about. The money, you know what I'm saying? They're living, lightweight, lavishly, and things like that. All the while, people are out here struggling. People are out here, paycheck to paycheck. And it's like, why aren't they helping people to actually better themselves? And it's because the government takes care of them. So, the religion is basically the government, just under a cloth. Like, it just has a different uniform on. And taking away our imagination is like the number one agenda. Because if you have no imagination, if you have no aspirations, then you're just stuck. You're stuck with what is out here, like what they offer you. They offer you the $8 an hour job. They may even offer you the $22 an hour job, but it's still an hourly job. You still have to follow rules and regulations. There is no room for imagination. And if you do have an imagination and you end up creating something while working for that company, they can say that it's theirs because you were working for them. That's how the company, that's how my day job currently is. And it's really crazy because I really wanted to work at this place before after I got out of school. And not to say that jobs are bad. Like, I don't want to discourage anybody that is okay with working a job. Like, hey, everybody isn't made to be a boss or to own a business. But I think nowadays most people are. A lot of people have different talents and different gifts that they do on a regular basis, but they either don't know how to monetize it, they don't know how to find the pain point or create a pain point in the market to make their product needed. That's one thing I did help with my digital agency, but again, that business didn't go so well. It didn't go as it didn't go as I envisioned it, and that's because I didn't have certain things in place that I see now that I should have in place. Because I basically have put that business on hold temporarily because I realize, I need a budget for marketing. Like, nowadays, the market is flooded. Wherever you go, the market is flooded. It doesn't really matter. What matters is your uniqueness and how you reach people. How do you influence people to be attracted to your service or your offering? And that's a lot of times too where imagination comes in. You need to be able to think outside of the box and not just in a straight and narrow path, like, oh, like this is the only thing that I'm gonna do. Like, prime example, I somebody I know, they just got a job. I think it was like the last part of 2018. They have been out of work for a minute and they finally got an opportunity and they were super happy. They're like, man, finally, saying, because they have a family and stuff like that. and he was like really excited, but he just got news that they're gonna be laying him off in like a couple of months. And it's like, man, so where what's the plan, right? And that's what I'm learning as well, because since I am planning to walk away from punching the clock, there has to be a plan in place. Like, because as long as there's a plan in place, yes, things will be okay. But if it just happens chaotically and you're just like, oh shit, like I didn't have anything saved, I didn't have anything, no type of plan or anything like that set up. So I believe allowing ourselves to dream wildly and then to begin to act on them to make it a reality is key, especially in these upcoming years. 2019 is a great year to begin. Like, a lot of times people feel like, oh, it's too late for me, I'm not going to be able to, because a lot of times you see people who have made it, like, you know what I'm saying, they're you come across their page and they're all over the place. You're like, dang, I didn't even know about this person, but they already have this and this. But you have to understand, they've been working on that for the last like 4 years or 5 years. So don't ever feel like, oh, it's too late. You know, there's OG, I don't call them OGs, but like older people, you know, they get laid off in their 40 or 50. A lot of times not even the age for retirement, and then they're scrambling like, what am I gonna do now? They have to go out and get some bootsy ass job, you know what I'm saying, at one of these stores or something, just to have income until they're of retirement age. And I have parents that they're close to the retirement age, but they're not there yet. They're starting to plan. They've been planning for it, but when we talk about like what things are they going to be doing, you know, how's the money going to be looking, you know, the conversation is still like things are going to be tight. And it's like that, and it's like, that's why in one of my last videos, I was like, I don't want to work the 40-40-40, where I work 40 hours for 40 years for only 40% of the income of the 100% income that I was making while working. Like, that just doesn't even make sense. It really doesn't. And so me being the oldest, you know, being the oldest, you kind of have the sense of responsibility, especially when it comes to your parents and they're getting older. Not to say that, you know, my brother's not going to help, but just being the oldest, I have this sense of I have to make sure that my parents and everything are okay. And I don't want to be having to work and then take care of especially when they get older, when they can't do anything for themselves. I'm having to start to think that far ahead, because if I don't change anything right now, I'm going to be in the same predicament in 5 to 10 years. You know what I'm saying? Trying to hang on to a job that doesn't really care anything about me. They don't really care about my struggles and things like that. So because I'm actually going to have a strategy planning meeting with my significant other, because even that, I like we have to really get it together, basically. Like, time is of the essence, and time is very, very important. Time is equivalent to money. But one guy drew a pretty good diagram where, I mean, of course, in the beginning you're going to have a lot of time but not that much money coming in. But as it progresses, as the graph progresses and it goes up, your time, you know, it starts you start having to really have to spend that much time, but then the money part starts to grow because it starts recycling back on itself. But that's if you are smart with the money and you have a strategy of how you're saving and things like that. See, growing up, money was never discussed in my household like that. Not, I would say not really until recently, like not till really till I got older, when I can't even, get a business loan like I really want to or need to in order for, to have any type of capital or anything like that. So sorry, I feel like I went off on a tangent, but having an imagination is a vital asset that people overlook many times. As you get older and you stop using your imagination, certain parts of your brain start to calcify, which is the pineal gland. Other parts of the brain also begin to basically die and things like that. And so keeping our imagination healthy, keeping our thoughts healthy, thinking about solutions, there's all kinds of things that people could be doing. And I actually got a really good I got a good idea, because I tried doing Lyft. I wanted to see, I wanted to see, I don't know, I'm always willing to try stuff like that. I mean, if I can make it extra money, that's, so I tried Lyft for a minute. This is kind of a side thing, but I tried Lyft for a minute. So I did the one like where you rent the car from them. Man, it's fucking highway robbery, man. I was like, really, like, the only way you're gonna make a profit, like a real profit, like I made some money. I only did it for like a couple months during the summer, but the amount that you have to pay to rent their car was a lot. Like it basically made me feel like I was working. And their whole sales pitch was like, oh, do it in your off time, or do it, a couple of hours a day. Like, no, fool, like you gotta straight do some hours to actually make something out of it. So essentially it's better to have your own car, but the idea that a young man had said or mentioned was getting or renting cars to Lyft and Uber drivers at a cheaper rate. Now that right there, you already know they're gonna be driving to make the money. But if you can come in at a more competitive rate, then I mean, all I see is profit from that. So that's an idea, that's the thing, like having multiple incomes. So when you lack an imagination, like one income is all you need. You don't really want or need for anything else, essentially. But when you have an active imagination, then that's when you start having just brilliant ass ideas, and you start developing more streams of income. In this day and age, you have to have more than one income. Because right now I'm kind of going through this where it's just a one income situation. And that's another kind of reason why I was like, man, I need my own business, because at least that way I can control the money coming in and not having to have it siphoned before I even receive it, right? But keeping your imagination active is very, very critical. Don't let them take away your superpower, because that really is a superpower that no one can take away. They can try and fool you and do shiny this, shiny that to keep you from paying attention. But when you have ideas, like don't do self-sabotage and say, oh, that's a stupid idea, no one's gonna, because you don't know. Like, I've seen the most amazing things be developed that I'm sure people were like, oh, you know, I'm sure somebody else had that idea, but they didn't act on it. And so in wrapping up, keep your superpower of imagination running strong. If it's been some years since you've actually thought about or dreamed about doing anything, start thinking about stuff that you enjoy doing. It's funny because when I got introduced to Reiki, you know, I was looking for something that I could do that would help me as well. I tend to carry a lot of stress in my body, like especially my back. I have a back injury from my job that I'm in the process of healing, but I needed something that I enjoyed, for one, that I wouldn't mind waking up, I wouldn't mind spending the hours doing, and it ended up being Reiki. And with that, you know, I can be in a continuous flow of Zen and self-development and helping other people to develop themselves as well, to be able to stand on their own, because it's coming to a time where we, like, if the, like, that's what I'm saying, like, if things just crashed tomorrow, what kind of position would we be in? For 90%, you know, we'd be in a pretty shitty place. We'd be scrambling, stressing out. There would be all kinds of chaos going on. So utilizing and keeping your imagination healthy, helping it to help you get you out of your situation is very, very vital. So I'm going to cut it here, and I will check you guys out on the next one.